I've heard of mothers and daughters being basically pimped out by Mike Moran. These guys are coming in from Philadelphia, New York, Columbus. This is well known, these Portsmouth girls. This has been going on too long. The whole community knows it. I don't want my daughters to be the next Moran girls. So this has to end.
For decades, women in Portsmouth, Ohio have told stories that describe a sex trafficking ring run by Michael Moran, a local attorney and former city councilman. It's a dark secret that people in this small town openly talk about. Now, several women tell the Inquirer they were lured into a life as sex workers with the promise of making hundreds to thousands of dollars nightly. But eventually, they felt trapped by fear and their drug addiction.
Totally false. Totally false. Now, I will say this. I make my living as a lawyer, and I think I'm a pretty decent lawyer.
I was Mike Moran's #1 girl. Mike introduced me to some friends, and I was paid extra for having sex, doing little dances, naked hot tub.
I have never had a prostitution relationship with any of these girls.
Mike Moran not only paid my bills and made sure that I was taken care of, he also made sure that my drug habit was taken care of. You know, I don't think he cared if I was using the drugs. He just didn't want, like I said, he just didn't want me to be, you know, too bad off, too far gone.
The drug issue that we have here, it seems like a lot of women are being exploited by male drug dealers who either have the women transport the narcotics or the opioids back, and or they take advantage of them because they're addicted to it and provide them with the drug in exchange for sex.
This southern Ohio town, along the banks of the Ohio River, is home to 20,000 people and sits in one of the poorest and least employed regions in the state. Portsmouth was once an economic rival to Cincinnati, but was hit hard when its manufacturing base collapsed in the 1970s. Then, pill mills dispensing OxyContin took over the area in the 1990s and early 2000s, starting a wave of drug abuse that still lingers. In some ways, the environment of Portsmouth helps keep the sex trafficking operation running. The men allegedly connected to it work in several branches of local government. These include some whose job it is to protect exploited women: police, a judge, and other elected officials. The women all tell the same story of powerful, connected men taking advantage of them. Many are too afraid to go on camera.
Mike would set me up with someone. The way they would word things is, such and such's house needs cleaned. Why don't you go be a cleaner for this gentleman?
I've gone to, like, you know, some trips and stuff. I would meet the friends at hotel rooms, and I would go up to their room and have sex with them for money. Sometimes they would pay me themselves, or at least tip me, you know, $100 or something, and Mike would pay me the rest.
I've been to his office many times, and many times he'd have different girls working, filing paperwork. And at the same time that they were filing paperwork, you know, a gentleman might stop by and she might take him to the basement.
I feel like Mike trafficked me to his friends, or pimped me out even.
I'm not going to stoop to defending myself against these people.
Mike reminded me often that, you know, I wouldn't have anything without him.
If I were doing drugs or selling drugs or prostitutes in 40 years, do you think there'd be one person that would, you know, nothing. I don't even know what give me the definition of a sex trafficker.
Sex trafficking is when someone is coerced into sexual activity for money against their will. That coercion can be the threat of physical abuse, the threat of legal action, or threatening to or withholding drugs from someone who is addicted.
Human trafficking could happen here. The conditions are ripe. You have drug addiction rampant. You have unemployment. You have poverty, which all the three of those go hand in hand, it seems like. So you have a built-in group of folks who are desperate, maybe hopeless, that could be preyed upon by those that would seek to use them for material gain.
I was made to feel like I had to do those things and that there wasn't really any getting out.
You can walk into a restaurant and see Moran in the corner, have two girls sitting with him at a restaurant, and you'll hear somebody else say, "There's Mike and his girls."
Mike's had so many rumors about him for so long, I'm not sure he really cares. If there was something there, I'm surprised that nothing's happened.
First of all, I think to investigate Mike Moran or any of the other attorneys, I don't care who it is. I mean, if it's that big a deal and it's that far reaching out of state, out of country or whatever, I just don't think we have the ability, the manpower, resources to do it.
The experiences these women shared are backed up by a federal affidavit that describes the decades-long sex trafficking ring headed by Moran. Federal agents submitted the affidavit as part of a wiretap request for a drug investigation that included Moran. They said that Moran recruited and employed women to travel as prostitutes and distribute drugs in other states, including Florida, New York, and Nevada. The documents say Moran promised lenient sentences to his female clients in exchange for working for him, an offer he could make because of possible help inside the police department and court system. The DEA delivered the results of the investigation to the FBI, but Moran has not been charged with a crime.
If you look at the affidavit, those are confidential informants under indictment by the FBI, and they say, "Do you know anything about anyone?" And it could go easier for you if you can tell us something.
I think sometimes Mike thinks he's doing girls a favor or he's doing a good job, and it's kind of like he's leashing a dog so it stays out of trouble, but at the same time he has control of that dog or that girl.
These girls, they may have voluntarily went there, but it's like walking into your own death or into your own prison, because now you're stuck. It wasn't like I could just go to the police department. There's no one to tell. Everybody's in each other's pockets. You can't.
In addition to not trusting the police, many women say they are scared of becoming one of the dozen or more women linked to drugs or prostitution who have disappeared or been killed in southern Ohio this decade. One of those missing women is Megan Lancaster, who disappeared from Portsmouth in 2013 and has never been found. The case remains open, and her family continues to search for answers while making sure she isn't forgotten. Megan's story casts a shadow of fear over this town, especially for these women who are afraid they will end up like her if they speak out.
I was scared that I would disappear, that they would kill me and get rid of me, and that would be the end of it. Or I would be, framed for something. I mean, nothing has changed. Just a new set of girls. Because after you're a certain age, he doesn't want to have anything to do with you, Mike, or the friends. They all want a young girl.
I feel like a number of these individuals, they're used up, thrown away, and discarded like they're trash. And they're not trash. They're an emotional wreck. They are chaos. They need help.